Well, we'll get started, I guess.
Okay.
Well, Kim, with the trade deadline, what's kind of the balance of making sure you add in the areas that you need while not subtracting too much from your strengths?
Yeah, I think it's always tricky, and I think that really depends on each deal, and really looking at each one individually and separately. Obviously we have, I wouldn't say surplus. I don't think you can ever have a surplus of pitching, but we have very good pitching. We have a fair amount of it. And clearly the offense hasn't been as good as we wanted to this year. But I think again, we have to take every deal, individually and make sure that we're addressing our needs.
What is the objective of the trade deadline for the Marlins?
I think the objective is always to try and better yourself, whether that's for today or for several years from now. And I think where we are in the standings, I've said this before. I'm not, and I've said it to clubs as well. I'm not sure we're going to be a clear buyer or a clear seller. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. So.
What challenges does that present when you say like where you are in the standings, when you don't know which way you could go or potentially are going to be dipping in both ways? Just the challenge that presents on your side trying to figure out things by Tuesday.
I don't think it's any more challenging. I think the trading deadline is always challenging because you're always trying to improve the club in some way. So I wouldn't say it's any more challenging than a different year.
You touched on pitching. When you see a deal like the one that happened yesterday with Luis Castillo, just giving you a gauge of what the market could be, how does that help provide a guide for moves that could potentially happen now that a domino has fallen?
Yeah, no, I think Cincinnati made a nice deal for themselves. So, I think it's relevant. But again, I think every deal is different.
Kim, do you think the time is right now to trade Pablo, or do you think that he can still be a big part of what you guys do in the future?
Yeah, I think with all of our pitching, I think you have to be very careful and make sure you're getting the value that you want, for today and for the future.
Have you expressed to him one way or the other what you plan on doing?
No, I have not talked to Pablo. It's been a crazy couple of days.
Do you think that he's kind of feeling it right now, like wondering if he's going to get dealt or not? Any sort of need to?
I think his name has just been mentioned so much out there. I think it'd be hard for him not to be thinking about it. He might have been thinking about it the other day when he did so well. He obviously responded in a great way if he was thinking about it.
Are you leaning one way or the other in terms of trading him or keeping him?
Again, I think a deal that really helps us is has to present itself. We're not out there looking to move Pablo, but as I've said before, we're listening on all fronts. We've got to get the club better.
Kim, along the lines of, I'm sorry, Chrissy, go ahead.
Yeah. How do you achieve that?
I think by being flexible and being open-minded.
Kim, does the extra wild card make you approach this differently than maybe you might in a year? You're usually 6 under, not really in it, but this year you're still within striking distance with 60 plus to go.
Yeah, no, I do think that there's an outside shot, a very outside shot, and if we have a little luck and we are hoping to get some pitching back here in the next 7 to 10 days, and feel that should help. Sometimes a lot of this boils down to who gets hot, at the end. So it'll be interesting.
With those injuries, how do you sort of balance, knowing that some guys might come back, but also where you guys are in the standings in regards to the deadline and what moves you may or may not make?
Can you rephrase?
Just because I guess there's reinforcements on the way, so there's potential to maybe make a run, but also there's a deadline Tuesday, so you can't really wait to make certain moves.
Yeah, look, again, I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not sure that we're going to make some huge deal. Again, it has to be about value that's coming back. It has to be about the future, as well as today. So I just can't say that, you know, there's anything imminent at this point.
Kim, you guys this offseason signed Soler, Garcia. How would you categorize their seasons, and if it's not what you thought, have you identified why?
Yeah, you know, I think it's been disappointing. I think, you know, Jorge, you know, and Avi are disappointed in their seasons as well. You know, it's not what they're accustomed to, and it's not what we thought we, you know, would see this year. You know, Jorge with the back, it's been an issue for him, and you know, he's battling through. He's on the DL or the IL for the second time with the back. You know, and Avi, you know, again, I think, you know, he wishes he was doing better. We all do. I think it's not for lack of effort. You know, I will say that, you know, there are some pretty big players last year who were in the same boat. Yeah, and this year as well. You know, I've looked back at the, you know, other potential acquisitions that we could have made in the off season, and you know, there are some that aren't doing what their new teams have expected either. So you know, I think it's you know, I think it's just bad luck. So you know, in terms of what, you know, why that's happened, yeah, I think sometimes players exert a lot of pressure on themselves, and you know, again, it's not necessarily what anybody wanted. It's not what they wanted.
What did you learn, I guess, from last year's deadline that you might be?
Well, I think last year was a little bit different. You know, I think there were some easy, you know, objectives that we were trying to meet. This year, I don't think it's as clear. You know, we have, you know, last year we had Starling Marte, who was going to be a free agent. You know, Adam Duvall, who was obviously having a good year. I don't think it's as clear as that this year. And again, it's not like there's some impending deal.
Could you categorize yourself as the caller or the callee right now in a lot of the conversations you're having?
It's always both. It's always both.
I tried.
On the injury front, you mentioned getting the guys back next week. Luzardo, Cabrera, just thoughts on them as they're getting toward the end of their rehab. Would you throw reports of them?
Yeah, no. You know, both have been you know, doing well in their rehab progressions, and I anticipate seeing them very soon.
And other Max Meyer having to undergo Tommy John, just
Yeah, totally. I mean, talk about bad luck. I mean, that was incredibly unfortunate, you know, and feel for Max. You know, certainly not where he wants to be in his second major league start. It does happen, and, you know, unfortunately, he's just going to have to, you know, sit out.
Is there anyone in the organization considered untouchable?
Yeah, I guess what I've said is we will listen on, you know, anybody. You know, I think certainly in our minds, you know, there's, you know, we just signed Sandy to a long-term deal. So is he untouchable? I'm not sure if anybody's untouchable, but I definitely think that, you know, assigning him to a long-term deal, I think, is fairly indicative of the way we feel about him.